Are you listening?
Please listen. When I ask you to listen to me, and you start giving me advice, you have not done what I asked. When I ask you to listen to me, and you feel you have to do something to solve my problem, you have failed me.
To understand someone, we must listen to them. Surprisingly, most of us do not know how to listen. We have been learning how to read, write, and speak better. Have we ever learned to listen better? Almost never. This is truly ironic because listening is the most important part of human communication. In what ways do people listen poorly? Examine the poor listening habits below and find out if any of them fits the way you listen. Understanding poor listening habits. When someone is talking to us, we sometimes do not pay attention because we are caught up in our own thoughts. This is when we space out during conversations. When we do this, the speaker may feel as though he or she is talking to a wall. The speaker will most likely not want to speak any further. More commonly, we pretend that we are listening by making empty comments such as yeah, uh-huh, or sounds great. We can fool the speaker for a minute or so, but he or she will soon find out that we are just pretending to listen. The speaker feels that he or she is not important enough to be heard. On some occasions, we listen selectively. In other words, we pay attention only to the part of the conversation that interests us and ignore the rest. For example, your friend may be trying to tell you how it feels to be in the shadow of his talented brother in the band. All you hear is the word band, and you say, "Oh yeah, the band. I've been thinking a lot about it lately." If you only talk about what you want to, chances are you will never develop lasting friendships. At times, we listen only to words. However, there are other factors that we also need to consider to fully understand a speaker's hidden intentions. These intentions are reflected in nonverbal language, such as gestures and facial expressions. Also, the tone of the speaker's voice is a sign of the speaker's feelings. When we fail to notice these factors, we will end up making inappropriate responses and hurting the speaker's feelings. Finally, we sometimes try to understand everything only from our own point of view. We assume the other person feels the same way we do. When we do such self-centered listening, we make judgments about what the speaker is saying and give advice that seems inconsiderate. This makes the other person reluctant to say any more.
Becoming an active listener. Active listening means much more than breaking all these bad habits. To listen actively, you need to keep some points in mind. Listening involves more than simply hearing what the other person is saying. In fact, only 7% of what we want to say is communicated by means of words. The rest is expressed through nonverbal language and the tone of voices. So, listen with your eyes, heart, and ears. To become an active listener, take off your shoes and put yourself in another's. You must try to see the world as the other person sees it, and try to feel as he or she feels. If you stand in someone else's shoes, you will be able to look at things from their perspectives, achieving better understanding. Remember that conversation is not a competition, but a process of sharing ideas and perspectives. It is also important to practice mirroring while listening. A mirror does not judge or give advice. It just reflects. Repeat back in your own words what the other person is saying. Mirroring is not the same thing as mimicking. When you mimic, you repeat the exact words without feelings. When you mirror, on the other hand, you repeat the other person's meaning in your own words in a caring manner. Below are some phrases you can use when trying to practice mirroring.